everyone, welcome to part 3 of The Secret Path. So here's the part 3 applique block and here's the part 3 foundation paper piece block. So you now know how to do applique, so you can go ahead and make that using your favorite technique. And when it comes to the foundation paper piece block, in the last video we showed a no-tear method using freezer paper. So I'm going to stick with the paper templates because that's my favorite way. But if you like to use the freezer paper method, go ahead and continue using that method. Okay, so let's get started. Part 3 foundation paper piece block is another star block. This block is made up of 5 units. There's a center unit, 2 side units, and 2 longer units for the top and bottom of the block. Here are the templates that you need for the part 3 block. I have printed them out, double check the size by measuring the 1-inch test box, and I've cut them all out on the outer broken line. I'm going to get started with template A. So first of all, I'm just going to roll over each line with a tracing wheel. And don't forget, if you don't have a tracing wheel, you can just fold on each line using a thin ruler. Piece number 1 is the background fabric. So take a rectangle of background fabric and then turn the template over so that the blank side is facing up. Then take your rectangle and place it on top of the template, just centered in the middle like that, and we have the right side of the fabric facing up. An easy way to make sure that the background fabric is in the correct position is to turn the template over, and you can easily see the edges of the fabric extending past the edge of the template. So just make sure that the fabric is centered underneath the template and then just pop a pin in to hold it in place. Now fold back on line A and trim a 1/4 inch away from the folded edge of the paper. And little pieces like this can be saved for a crumb quilt if you like. So shape 2 and shape 5, they are color D and they are the star points. So for us, that's going to be the light green. And you need to have a pair of triangles that are a mirror image of each other as instructed in the course notes. So now turn your template over so that the blank side is facing up. Take one of your triangles and place it in position, and just make sure that that triangle mimics the shape of our triangle shape on the template. Now take that piece and place it right sides together. Now just to make sure that our triangle is going to be positioned correctly, you need to have 1/2 inch of the triangle extending past the top edge of the template and 1/2 inch extending past the bottom edge of the template. That's just going to ensure that when we stitch it and flip it over, we're going to have enough fabric to cover our shape plus some extra for the seam allowance. Okay, so hold in place and head to the machine to sew. So if you're using the freezer paper method, you would just fold back and stitch next to the edge of the folded edge of the paper. If you're using the paper method, you just want to sew the length of the line, starting here and finishing here. Now, if you feel more confident with foundation paper piecing, you can actually reduce your stitch length down to 1.2, and this really does give quite a tiny stitch. And it also means that you shouldn't have to reverse stitch at the beginning and at the end of each row of stitching. So when we're starting here, we know we have to make sure that that's going to be nice and secure there too. When you're sewing a line that goes off the edge of the template, you can just run straight off the edge of the template. So I have reduced my stitch length, and I won't be doing a little back stitch because I know that it should be nice and secure, but double check that. Everybody's different, so you've got to sew the way that you want to. So when you turn over to the back, you can really see how tiny that stitching is. So if you're not feeling confident, maybe stick with the 1.8, because if you do need to unpick, that is going to take a long time and be quite tricky to unpick. Remove the pin, turn over to the back, fold out piece number 2, then just flip back to the front, make sure that it covers all of its space or its shape there, including some extra for the seam allowance. And if that's all good, turn it over back to the fabric side and give it a good press. So something I did notice with using a shorter stitch length is that my template started to pull away from the stitching line, which is totally fine, except you don't want your template to fall apart before you finish making the unit. So once again, that's totally up to you if you do want to try using a shorter stitch length. Now you all know how to do foundation paper piecing, so go ahead and make all of the units, and there are step-by-step instructions in the course notes. But keep watching because I have a few more tips to share with you. So I noticed on this unit and on my other unit, I lost the point of my star. It's only a fraction, but to fix that issue, if you sew slightly outside the line on the last triangle, that should just allow enough space for that triangle to fold back and still give us a nice sharp point. So see, I'm just sewing slightly to the outside of that line. So let's fold back and see. Ah, look at that. A beautiful sharp point. Slightly lost that one, which is okay. No one's going to notice that. But if you do want to fix that problem, that's the little trick. I've gone ahead and made all the units. At this stage, they still have the paper attached, but I am going to remove the paper before I join the units together. And the reason for this is because these seams here are facing out. And they're facing out because we started the foundation piecing from the center and we worked towards the outer edges. That means that when we join these units to this unit, we can press these seams in. And so the seams here, they'll face in opposite direction. That means that they're going to be nested, and nested seams are quite easy to align and it will provide a nice flat seam. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the paper, and I can certainly say that the shorter stitch length does make it a lot easier to tear the paper away. To get started with joining the units together, join the side units onto the center unit. I'm doing this with a stitch length of 2, and I have my 1/4 inch foot attached, and I also am using a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. So make sure you also finish with an ender. So I started with a leader and I'm finishing with an ender. And I think I mentioned in last week's course notes is that the thread chain that is created by starting and finishing with an ender, that's almost like your little bit of a back stitch, and it helps to hold the seam nice and secure. There is a little bit of a gap between my stitching line and the point, and you'll notice that's what happens when you use a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. But when you press the seam in, that just gives that little bit of space for the seam to easily be able to be pressed in, and I still get a nice little point there. Now press the seams in towards the center of the block. Next, join the rows together, and as mentioned before, our seams are facing in opposite directions, so they'll nest in together. So that's where they just kind of like lock in together. And to make sure that they are nice and aligned, use the pin trick. So the pin trick is when you take a pin and you place it 1/4 inch in from the raw edge into the stitching line. Then you take that pin and you put it 1/4 inch in from the edge on the stitching line, just like that, and you hold the layers together, and then you bring the pin back up to the top, and you just double check on the underside that everything is nice and lined up, and that will help our seam to line up when we're sewing. So go ahead and pin the other seam in the same way. It's also a good idea to pin the center and also pin the outer edges of the block. So to do this, pop a pin in 1/4 inch away from both edges of the block, and we're pinning into that diagonal stitching line. Then pop a pin 1/4 inch in from the edge on the underneath piece, once again into that diagonal stitching line. Bring the edges together and pin like that. So pin the opposite end in the same way. Now sew the seam, removing the pins as you go. All seams are aligned, so I'm happy with that. Press this seam towards the center of the block. Now, I'm a big fan of glue basting, but you can't glue baste an open seam. But because we're pressing this seam in the one direction, the good news is we can glue baste this seam. So to do this, I'm just going to use like a piece of cardboard just to protect my surface from the glue. And I just use a Soline glue pen, and I'll just pop a few dabs of glue within the seam allowance. So just staying within that 1/4 inch seam allowance with your dabs of glue is really important so that things don't get too messy. And then it's just a matter of placing the pieces right sides together. And you can easily see where those seams are aligning. So just get all those seams aligning. Just like that. And then the final step is to just give it a press with the iron to speed up the drying process. And then you're right to sew that seam just in the same way as before. Just as a side note, if you do happen to hear some snoring during the filming of my videos, that's my little Archie. He's fast asleep, wouldn't have a clue what's going on. So here's the completed block, and it should measure 9.5 inches square. But as I always say, if it's a little bit smaller, that's okay, because the borders that we're about to sew on, they'll make up for any loss of size when we go to join the quilt together. So it's a case-by-case situation as to whether you press the seams open or whether you press them to one side. So in cases where we have units where the seams are going in the same direction, and when we join those units together, it's better off to press those seams open because that will create less bulk. But when we have the opportunity to nest our seams, we will press the joining seam in the one direction. So as I said, just a matter of working out the best way to press the seam so that you have the least amount of bulk. To finish the block, go ahead and sew on the side borders, then the top and bottom borders, then layer the block together with the batting and the backing, and quilt the block. You'll find the quilting instructions in the course notes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.